And it makes a very big difference where on the page you show up. So the #1 organic ranking would be this one, because it's the first non-ad. The second one, would be ours. So you can see that if you have 100 people searching English course Singapore, about 36% will click the #1 ranking. The #2 gets clicked by only about 12.5%, and that's why we really want to rank #1. And it's really, typically, many people may think that it's great if I'm on page 1 on Google, but if you're #8, you don't realize how much more clicks, how much more traffic #1 is actually getting. It's really, several times larger amount of traffic that you will get to your website, with correspondingly, all of the results will be several times larger. So which keywords should you focus on? This is a screenshot from our Google advertising campaign that shows our top performing keywords. So this is actually, especially if you're running a English language school, this is really valuable to know. It has taken us a lot of trial and error to find out that these would be the keywords. So we find that people who search for either a course or a class or a lesson, and they specify the location, they are the most likely to actually get in touch. So what we see here is the number of conversions. So what we measure is how many people fill out a form on the website. And that information gets sent back to Google, so we know when we run advertisements, which advertisements actually make people inquire. There is other things that we don't measure, so this is not the full picture, but it does, this data actually helped us to know what we should prioritize in our search engine ranking campaign. And by the way, if you have any questions in the meantime, don't feel afraid to just put it in the chat. I might either address it immediately, or there might be, we might cover it later in the presentation, but just feel free to leave any comments if you have questions. What is the name of the ad? It's Google AdWords. Is that an answer to your question, Anais? Okay. So one thing you can do is, so there is a kind of a trade-off that you need to make, because there are thousands of people every day searching for Learn English, for example, but there's two reasons why you might not want to really prioritize that. One is that Learn English can mean that people are just interested in learning English, and they're probably just looking for a presentation or a video or some way that they can make it, that they can learn English for free by themselves. So you don't really want to spend to get a ranking and then get a lot of traffic, but at most people who just waste, if they even inquire, they may not pursue a course eventually. And also it's a lot more competitive because there are so many other players that are talking about so many websites about learning English, and you're going up against all of those. So whereas if you narrow it down to, let's say, the city where your school is based, or if you're an online school, you will have to see whether there is perhaps a certain specific type of English that you can tailor your course offerings to. Because that not only will it be easier to show up, because there's less people in the market for it, but also once people find you, then you are the specialized player in this. So you can at the same time also be too specific. If you try to, let's say everyone can rank for their company name, let's say English Express, but then the question is how many people are going to search your company name? If you will probably rank for your company name no matter how much or how little effort you make, But unless you have a very well-known brand name, it's not going to bring you any students. And if you have a well-known brand name, then basically your effort of doing the ranking is not giving you any additional students because they already knew you through other channels. There is a tool called the Google Keyword Planner, and this tool requires you to create an account with Google AdWords at google.com/AdWords. And I believe you might even need to connect a credit card, but you don't actually have to spend any money to use it. What the keyword tool does is you can key in phrases that people search, and then it will give you the related phrases as well as the numbers of roughly how many people in your area are searching for this phrase. And these are the keywords for English that we have found to work really well for English. And if you're doing search engine optimization for other courses, then I think, or for other products, then I think you can kind of see the type of components that need to be there. There needs to be something like learn or study, and then a subject, and then a location. Yeah, so once you know which keywords you really want, once you've made that the decision, you'll have to plan which page for which keyword. So on the website you have multiple pages, and you may tailor one page to be more for English course, class, lesson, plus city, and another page to be more about the school. And then you're going to set up the page so that it's optimized for these keywords. So there's multiple things that you can do, or that you must do, to signal to Google that that you want to be ranked and that you are relevant for example, English course Singapore. You might think, if you're in English school, what I see a lot with people who come to us is that they have a website, and all of the content on the website kind of leaves out the subject, because it's very clear, maybe from the images or from the name, that this is a cooking school, right? So it will say something like, our class schedule is here. Oh, we had a great time at our class. And if you don't put the subject there, English class, cooking class, or whatever, then for a search engine, it's still very difficult to determine that is the subject. And as such, you will not really show up when people use this search phrase. So in your website, you can set up a page title, and that is the title that will show up in the tab. And if you hover over it, you will see the words that I put in the title. It's Learn English Singapore, courses at English Express. So we have the words English, course, and Singapore, but we also have Learn English Singapore. So we're actually targeting both phrases of this. Besides that, you can also set up a hidden title that you want to show in the search results. So this is also important, because if you see a search result page, you're going to scan it as a user, as someone who is searching for something. You're going to scan it, and you're going to wonder, like, am I going to click this, or am I going to click something else? And so same thing. There's a title here. It hits again all the keywords to make it very, very obvious to Google that this is what we want to rank for. But you can also put in what they call a meta description. So this is a description of what is on the page. And this is really ad copy, because while we include the keywords, we want to give a strong reason. Why should you actually click this listing? And this is a relatively small site. If you have a very large school site, then you think of a way to make sure that every page has a fitting and very specific description, so that when a certain course is being searched, let's say English presentation skills, for example, you have actually a relevant title and a relevant description there, because you are always competing against all the other search results. And if you go further down on the page, then search engines will actually scan the whole page. So you need to make sure that the search phrase and different versions of it show up throughout the text. And again, this is also a trade-off, because you are mainly writing for the people who visit your site. You want to be an attractive school. You don't want to, in the past you saw that a lot, where people wanted to rank in the search engines, so they just said English courses in Singapore. Are you looking for an English course in Singapore? At English Express you can find great English courses in Singapore. And so that used to work very well with the search engines, but they are now, the algorithms have gotten a lot smarter, and they can actually realize that this is not natural text. So besides that, it really turns off people. So though instead, you know, I put English course here and then Singapore, so it's actually English course Singapore. But then here we have English courses. You have class sizes here. Learning the English you need. So you do need to use the words, but use them in a way that it's still reasonable. And that's sometimes it's a bit of an art. But when you start knowing which words you know should be on which page, then you can write the copy, and you just don't really think about it. You just keep the keyword in the back of your head, and when it really fits, you can kind of work it in, so that it becomes very clear to the search engines that this is the, you know, this is really very relevant page for this topic.